This is sports stuff. Betting stuff.
Ciao. With your two favorites.
The original degenerates are here to prepare you for all of the first round. Well, I would say that almost all of the first round tournament action on the men's side. As a reminder for anybody that doesn't know, I am the original degenerate and your host, Muff.
I'm
Howdy,
off.
folks. Howdy, folks. Howdy, folks. Joining alongside the other side of the original degenerate crew and our medical degenerate, Alex.
That's me.
We are going to go through all of the games in the first round. Again, we have two games that I guess probably through this we'll know who Duke plays in their first round game because the playing game is probably about to be finished. Um, but we will not, at time of this recording, know who Illinois is going to be playing.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through all the games, talk about what we know. There's a lot to potentially chat about, but to be fair, I think it's just going to be some quick hitters. If we know anything of value, or some initial thoughts, and then we're just going to move on.
I agree. And tail our picks. Are you betting on every game?
I will be
I will
betting
also
on
be
every
betting on
game.
every game.
Are you going to do that with me?
I am.
Well, the good news is, Alex, I can guess what I put together.
Oh, a spreadsheet. Muff's a freak in the sheets.
I have a spreadsheet put together, so Alex and I. Now, this is going to be up to you, Alex. I put together the game, my bet, the odds of that bet, whether that bet wins or loses, and then the money won or lost.
So
You have
I
to
put
commit
it.
yourself fully, or are you just going to go wins and losses?
Well, I'll do that. But should we just? Why don't what we do? So do you have can you just make my own sheet in there? So like copy whatever you did and make a second sheet so I don't mess yours up.
Of course I can, Alex.
Because I'm not as big of a freak in the sheets as you, so I just want to make sure I don't mess up your sheets.
That's good. While I'm doing this for Alex, go ahead and tell the people about if you have any item of good luck. And why don't you tell the people what we're going to do on Thursday? Today, as this comes out, for
So
all of the fun, for all of the loyal listeners.
today, today we will be at the casino, racking up our wins, watching the basketball games, and using a live sports book to bet on said games. This will be at the Wheeling Island Casino and Racetrack. If anyone's interested, we will be there. Come see us. If you're listening to this, I hope it's not too late and you haven't already filled your day with another activity. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing tomorrow. And there was something else, or today, and I guess there was supposed to be something else I was going to tell you, but I forgot already. West Liberty made it to the Elite Eight.
Here we go. We got that.
Right,
The
we should
West
mention
Liberty
that.
University Hilltoppers
Toppers.
have made it to the Elite Eight. They will face off against whatever team they're playing on Tuesday.
They reseed in Division Two. So
Well. Yeah. So, Alex, you have access to this sheet now.
I do. Wow, what's the sheet called?
NCAA Basketball 2025.
Okay.
All right. Do you have an item of good luck that you're going to be
Oh,
using
that
throughout?
was what you asked
That
me.
that was what you
I
missed,
think
yeah.
this my item of good luck will be my People of Walmart coloring book. It has brought me luck to this point. I will not be coloring through tonight's show because I need to be focused on the monies, but I will give everyone a sneak peek of my finished paint coloring of Dale.
Dale looks a lot like Bob Ross.
But like, yeah, I even gave him a little bit of notice the detail in the hair. I gave him
Yes.
some highlights,
Some
kind of.
those highlights or salt and pepper streaks.
Uh, I think probably you're right. But yeah, so I did that for anyone who didn't get a live look in. I can't remember what I named her, if I'm being honest, but Sam would remember. And that was her. So I really like this Riverside because I can show off my coloring. So I
Can
won't
much easier.
I won't show you my next one because I don't want to spoil it until it's done. But it might take me a while. There's a lot of intricate details in this one.
All right. I don't have any specific item of good luck. I'm gonna just ride out the sports stuff with Jim of Hat, which is also likely to be part of our prizes for
Prizes.
the winners of the men's and women's tourney challenge. Again, if you listen to this early enough, you can probably still get into the tourney challenge. Link in the bio. Pop into that link tree. Check out some of the social posts. You can get involved. I think we're close to 40 entries for the
Yeah.
men's side and 20 to 25 for the women's.
If you're wondering who Jim Sucks is with Michigan winning, that's me. In case you didn't know.
Okay, it's good to know. Good to know that for the future. All right, let's dive into it, starting with the Thursday games in the first round. In the first round of the men's NCAA basketball tournament, the madness begins with Creighton taking on Louisville. Louisville favored by 2.5, over under 145.5.
What are you thinking?
I'm on Louisville to cover. Um, they've got whatever his nuts is that transferred from Wisconsin. Um, the guard, right? This is the type of breakdown we're going to get in today's episode. So I think Louisville is poised to make a bit of a run in this tournament. So I'm going to go with
Okay.
Louisville to cover the 2.5.
Yeah, I actually agree with you there. Uh, I toy with Creighton because occasionally Creighton is a name you see pop through the tournament a little bit, but Louisville's had a decent year, and I'm going to stick with them.
Chucky Hepburn. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be on Louisville. Next, we have High Point taking on Purdue. Purdue favored by 7.5, over under 153.5.
Not sure I know what High Point is.
High Point is in North Carolina.
Really? I was
I
thinking
I
West
don't know what
Point, and I
conference they're
was like,
from.
that's not right.
No, would you think that meant they were north?
I don't know. Well, I was
High
thinking
Point
West
was north
Point.
of West
Like,
Point.
I don't know what I thought, but I was thinking, my mind went to West Point, and I was like, that's a different school.
Yeah. Purdue, one of those teams out of the Big Ten, right? That I think they have the Big Ten Player of the Year, uh, but didn't really meet the potential and expectations that some people had. High Point, obviously, coming from a lesser known conference. I'm actually going to go with the under in this game. I think Purdue underperforms, which equates to less points on the scoreboard. And High Point, they get into a bit of a defensive struggle against each other. I still think Purdue wins, but I'm not excited about the 7.5 line. I'm going to go with the under 153.5.
All right. I am going to go with Purdue minus 7.5.
Okay. Next, we have Montana taking on Wisconsin. Wisconsin favored by 16.5, over under 151.5.
I read some stuff that made me feel like Montana could sneak up on Wisconsin. I have Wisconsin moving forward in my brackets, and I think I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
stick with that. But I think here I'm going to take Montana plus 16.5.
All right, I'm on the other side of this one. I'm going to take Wisconsin to cover the 16.5. Wisconsin's coming out of the Big Ten. I don't disagree that I think Montana, in the first 10 to 15, maybe even throughout the first half of this game, puts up a good fight. But I think Wisconsin outclasses them, especially in the last 10 to 15 minutes.
The exciting part, we'll be watching this together.
Indeed. Next, we have Southern Illinois taking on Houston. Houston favored by 28.5, over under 125.5. There is speculation that Houston is going to be the first number one seed to fall. I say nay, nay, not in the first round, but I am not super excited about taking Houston to cover in this game. I'm actually going to take the over. Houston defensive, um, really good defensive team. They kind of are shaky on offense, but I think this is an offensive game where Houston opens it up a bit, especially towards the end. I'm going to go with the over in this one.
I am with you on that. I mostly agree with your logic. I think Houston, just because I watched a little more Big 12 basketball, is a better team than people give them credit for. But that being said, I do like the over here.
Next, we have Alabama State taking on Auburn. Auburn favored by 31.5 points. Alabama State coming off a play-in game win over under 150.5. What do you think, Alex?
Alabama State was not, if I recall, they were like 40 places behind St. Francis or something like that in like the Ken Palm rankings. I don't think they're a very good team. I think they played well. They made the last second shot to get in. So I'm going to go with Auburn minus 31.5 here. Auburn's had a good season. I think they continue to roll and take care of business in this first round.
I'm going to go with the over in this game. I think Auburn does the heavy lifting, and we get a backdoor over with Alabama State putting up some points in garbage time to get us there. We have McNeese State taking on Clemson. Clemson favored by 7.5 over under 134.5. I'm going to go, while the ACC, not the best conference out there this year, I'm going to go with Clemson to cover 7.5.
Yeah, I will also be Clemson to cover on this one. McNeese is another one. I don't think I know where they're from. See, this is one thing I like about March Madness. I learn about a lot of different schools and where they're from. I've heard of McNeese,
Uh,
I think, but I don't know where they're from.
McNeese State, isn't that where Air McNair went? Steve
Mm,
McNair?
maybe.
Yeah. Next, we have Virginia Commonwealth taking on BYU. BYU favored by 2.5 over under 146.5. Alex.
Nah, give me BYU to cover. It might be a Big 12 homer pick, but
I'm going to take VCU plus the points. Don't have a whole lot of underdogs in the big picture here. Realistically, I should probably just take VCU to win outright on the money line, but I think this is going to be a close one. I'm going to take the plus 2.5 and just hope for an easy win, all said and done. Next, we have Georgia taking on Gonzaga. Gonzaga favored by 6.5 over under 150.5. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs plus them points, Alex. This is one of those SEC teams that have been in just a tough conference, and I think they take down a West Coast Conference team that typically just gets to coast in.
I am going to go the opposite way on this, and it might be an emotional pick because I want Gonzaga to win because WVU beat them early in the year, and I want this to be another statement to be like, hey, look, these teams going forth that WVU beat. So I am just going to trust my gut on that one and go with Gonzaga minus 6.5.
All right. Next, we have Wofford taking on Tennessee. Tennessee favored by 18.5 over under 132.5. Alex.
You know, life is short, but occasionally you have to take the unders anyway. In this game, I will be taking the under 132.5.
Do you have any special T-shirts for our outing?
I do not know because I was
Oh,
only going to get a special T-shirt if I got the special hat, and they didn't have the special hat in the color I wanted. It just fell apart. Maybe Harper and Company can make me
Harper
a
and
company.
Company. I'm going to take Tennessee to cover in this one. Tennessee, one of the teams coming to the tournament for me that I'm very high on. And I have many brackets. I think I have Tennessee, I think, outplaying their ranking in many of those. So that's where I am. Arkansas, Calipari, and the Razorbacks taking on Kansas. We have Arkansas versus Kansas. Kansas favored by 4.5 over under 145.5. I got to go with Calipari. I think he's going to have the boys ready to play. Kansas on a down year for Kansas.
It is a down year for Kansas. This is like the lowest ranking I think they've had since like 1988 or something like that. And but that being said, they are always a tournament team, no matter where they come in at. I'm going Kansas.
Kansas to cover.
Yeah, Kansas cover.
All right. We have like 3 or 4 games that we are at odds at the moment.
I know. This will be fun.
About to see some people yelling in each other's faces
There might
at the
be.
casino. Next, we have Yale, the smart kids, taking on Texas A&M. A&M favored by 6.5 over under 139.5. Give me A&M to cover.
Yeah, I mean, I'm covering here too.
Drake versus Missouri. Missouri favored by 6.5 over under 132.5. Alex.
I will be going with Missouri here. Missouri minus 6.5.
All right. Life is too short to bet the under, so I'm going over the 132.5 in this game.
There you have it.
Um, Next, Utah State taking on UCLA. UCLA favored by 5.5, over under 142.5. Alex, did you know? Former Fairmont State head coach Jared Calhoun is the coach for Utah State. Give me Utah State plus them points.
I see. I have Utah State plus points too. We'll have some we'll root for together.
Did you know that tie?
I did not.
Next, we have Omaha taking on St. John's. Rick Pitino and the Johnnies favored by 18.5.
I
Over under 147.5.
I'm rolling with the Johnnies. I'm jumping on that bandwagon. It's fun. Why
Yeah,
not?
I want the Johnnies to continue on so Pitino can wear like a white suit.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
what I
good
want to
point.
see. I don't know when that happens. I feel like that's like an Elite Eight Final Four situation, but I want to see him. I want to see him do it. California, San Diego taking on Michigan. Michigan favored by 2.5. Over under 142.5. This was the game that people, Michigan fans, had issue with because they were misseeded according to most, and this actually gave them the most difficult 5-12 matchup, as they're only favored by 2.5.
Yeah, I actually I agree with that there. I'm not just saying that to support Michigan because it's fun. But I do
Is
think
it fun to
Michigan.
support Michigan, or is it fun to support
It's
Michigan because Jim?
that's all 100% what I meant. I think that I am going to take Michigan here though.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the over. Um, I think that this is going to be a back and forth game. May even go to overtime. Give me the points. Over them points. Next, we have UNC Wilmington is the last game on Thursday night, taking on Texas Tech. Texas Tech favored by 15.5. Over under 143.5. Alex, you Big 12 in
Um,
it?
yeah. Well, I'm going to over it. I'm going to say over 143.5.
All right, I'm going to take Texas Tech to cover.
Not bad.
That big line, 15.5. So as we finish up the games here on Thursday, Alex, can you see if the American Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers game has finished?
Fake Mountaineers. It
Uh,
has.
hmm,
The Mount has won 83 to 72.
see, the Mountaineers did make it into the tournament.
Shut up, Muff. Too soon. Too soon.
All right. So as I'm working through this, Alex, can you share after day one for you what would be a good, great, and unthinkable betting situation? Wins,
I mean,
losses, units up.
unthinkable would be hitting them all, obviously, but I would say that out of what do we have, 16 games? Uh, give me. I would say anything over 10 is good. Anything over 12 is a great day, and anything over 14 is unthinkable. Or I'd say anything over 14 is super great, and 16 is unthinkable. I think the only thing I could label as unthinkable would be to win them all, I think. But 14 or 15, super great. 12,
I think,
13, great. 10, 11, good.
yeah, I think after day one, and this is just on the bets for this, not what we do at the casino. I think if I am 3+ units up, I will feel good about life.
So that would be winning. Wait, 11, 12,
How many games are there?
16
16. We'll
divided
say
by
average
3.
-110 odds. Um, so if you win 12, you're getting back about you're up about 10 units minus the 4 you lose. No, you probably only have to be about 5 games, so 11, 10 or 11 wins. I think we'll get
Maybe I said
get to
11.
that range.
Uh, can I make my yearly complaint right now?
About Is this about basketball?
This is about basketball.
Then yes.
Why are we still having 11 seed play in games?
Is this a complaint because of
I
North
think they should.
Carolina?
No, this is a complaint because I think that they should. I think all the play-in games should be for a 16 seed.
Yeah, I think this has been a complaint
That's what I'm
pretty
saying. This is a
pretty
yearly.
regularly.
Yeah, this is a yearly complaint for me. I just don't understand. If you're good enough to be an 11 seed, you shouldn't have to play into the tournament.
So I think the counter, and I think this has always been the counter, is at-large teams from major conferences are going to be heavily favored against conference champions from mid-majors. So if it's always a 16 seed, you're going to mostly, if not almost all the time, have mid-major conference champions playing in the play-in game, which means they're never going to potentially make it to the tournament,
I don't know that I
like
have
in
a
that field of
problem
64.
with that.
Yeah, but
I
if
see your point,
that's
and I've thought about
yeah,
that before too. But I
I
think
think
that
that is the point that's typically brought up.
yeah, I still am not a huge fan of that. But because like I feel like right now like we're gonna see a Texas Xavier 11 seed. If they're both good enough to be 11 seeds, and they should both just be in the tournament,
Right, and that's I agree. I do agree with
like in
that.
this sitting.
So
So I
yeah,
don't know. That's just my thought. My yearly gripe. I thought I would get it in.
okay, got it in. All right, we have a line for Duke Mount St. Mary's. Um,
We do.
yes, I put it in the wrong spot.
Oh, okay. I was like waiting on you to change it and fill in. But
There we go. All right, so let's get into some Friday action.
okay.
First, we have Baylor taking on Mississippi State. Mississippi State favored by 1.5 over under 144.5.
Uh, Give me the Big 12 homer pick. Baylor plus 1.5.
Yeah, I'm going with the SEC. I'm down with the SEC.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
you know
are.
me. The first S stands for something different. Next, we have Bobby Moe. Robert Morris taking on Alabama. Bama favored by 22.5 over under 165.5. Why does Bobby Moe have to play against Alabama?
Hmm?
I will still root for them. I just know that this is not going to end up well.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That being said, I'm not going to go in a line. I'm just going to say give me the under.
There you go. Then you don't have to worry about it. You can still root for Bobby Moe.
I can root for
And
Bobby
the only way
Moe.
that they're going to win, I feel like, is if the under hits.
Yes. Where are you feeling, Alex?
I am going to say Bama minus 22.5.
All right.
It's one of those ones where I'm
Next,
going to go with what I think is a smart pick, but if that's one that I get wrong, I'll be like, good for him.
you can live through that.
Yeah.
Next, we have Lipscomb taking on Iowa State. Iowa State favored by 14.5 over under 143.5. I'm going to be with the Big 12 on this one, Alex.
There you
Give me
go.
Iowa State to cover.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
All right. Next, Colorado State taking on Memphis. Colorado State favored by 1.5 over under 146.5. This is my only moneyline dog of the week.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to go with Memphis moneyline. It's barely a dog. It's barely plus odds, but I'm going with it.
All right, I'll give it to you. I'm going to go the other way on this. I'm going to go with Colorado State minus 1.5.
All right. Vanderbilt taking on St. Mary's. St. Mary's favored by 4.5 over under 135.5.
Vandy has had a sneaky good sporting year, and I think it continues with a first round win here, and I'm going to take them plus the points, Vandy plus 4.5.
All right. I'm on the opposite side. Give me St. Mary's to cover
Oh
4.5.
boy.
End the Commodores' run. Next, we have Grand Canyon taking on Maryland. Maryland favored by 10.5 over under 149.5.
Oh, Maryland plus 4.5.
I'm going to go with the under in this game. Maryland.
Wait, it's not Maryland plus 4.5.
Uh,
Maryland minus 4.5. Wait.
Maryland 10.5.
Yeah, I don't know. I typed it in wrong and read it wrong. Yeah. I was like, wait a second. This is not plus, and it's not. Okay, yes, I'm sticking with that though. Maryland minus 10.5. I think it copied down from the bandy.
Got it. Maryland underperformed in the Big Ten this year. I'm going to go with the under in this game. Next, now that we have this line, we have Duke taking on the Mountaineers of Mount St. Mary's. Duke favored by 31.5. Over under 142.5. Alex.
I gotta ride with Duke here.
Yeah, that's a lot of points, but I'm going to go with it.
Yeah. I feel like I don't have a lot of like underdogs for me, but I'm just trusting my gut.
Go ahead and introduce the next one, Alex.
All right. So next we have Norfolk State versus the Florida Gators. This is an over under set at 153.5, and Florida favored by 28.5 points. Uh, a lot of bracketologists have Florida to win, although apparently we disregard what bracketologists think these days. So take that for what you will. But I am choosing to believe in what the bracketologists say, and I will be taking Florida minus 28.5 because they know what they're talking about and we should listen to them. Bring back Bob
Hey,
Huggins.
oh God. Yeah, I mean, your Mountaineers have had a terrible go of it. Uh, Not in the tournament. Coach leaves. Son's about to leave too, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I figured that much.
That was expected.
Yeah,
All right. In that game, where you? This is Florida, Norfolk State, Florida.
yeah,
I'm on the over. Give me over. Give me the points. Over 153.5. I think Florida is dominant, maybe to the point of scoring 90 plus.
yeah.
That's where I'm going to be. All right.
All right, moving on. Oh,
Ole Miss taking on North Carolina. North Carolina has won a game in the tournament this year, uh, and favored in the round of 64 matchup against Ole Miss, a team from the vaunted SEC. North Carolina favored by 1.5, over under 155.5. Are you spite picking, Alex?
no, I'm just going to stay away from a line altogether here and just going to go ahead and take the over 155.5.
Gimme North Carolina to cover the 1.5, make it to the round of 32, and prove all the haters wrong. Next, we got Troy taking on Kentucky. Kentucky favored by 11.5, over under 152.5.
Give me the under. Under 152.5.
With that, I feel like we're maybe in a similar thought pattern here. I'm going to take Troy plus the 11.5 against a Kentucky team in a down year. Kentucky, Kansas, down years.
Yeah. No, it's alright. Sometimes it's nice to mix things up.
Nice to mix
But
things up. New Mexico taking on Marquette. Marquette favored by 3.5, over under 154.5.
I don't have a great reason, but Marquette minus 3.5.
I am also on Marquette minus 3.5. We're on the same side there, and again, for probably no good reason. Akron taking on Arizona. Arizona favored by 13.5, over under 166.5.
Arizona minus 13.5.
Give me the points. Arizona able to put up points in bunches. I think they do so. We get a garbage time over.
Fair enough.
Next, we have Oklahoma taking on Dan Hurley and the Huskies of UConn. UConn favored by 5.5,
I don't
over
like
under 147.5.
I don't like to count out UConn in these tournaments, so I'm just gonna go with them and say UConn minus 5.5.
I'm also doing that. This is like the one that, as I was thinking about it, as I typed it out, I was like, nah, I shouldn't do this,
I know.
but I have to.
Yeah. I'm not betting against them.
Yeah,
Not this round.
no, no, not this round. Illinois taking on the winner of Texas and Xavier. We will not be able to officially talk about what's going to happen there. I would say I'm most likely going to be staying away from a line. Illinois has been kind of up and down this season, so I'm probably going to be on the points somewhere over or under.
Fair enough. I think if Xavier wins this, I would go with Xavier. Um, if Texas wins, I'll probably be with you and be on some kind of line.
All right. Bryant taking on Michigan State. Michigan State and January, February Izzo. Favored by 17.5. Over under 152.5.
I'm riding with Izzo.
That's it. January, February, Izzo to cover.
Yep.
In the last game on Friday night, we have Liberty
Liberty, 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 liberty.
taking on them Ducks of Oregon. Oregon favored by 7.5, over under 139.5. I'm going to root for points in the last game of the day on Friday. Give it over.
I'm going to go with Liberty plus 7.5. I want to end it on an upset.
Ending it on an upset. All right. Can't. I can't be upset about that.
No pun
What you're
intended.
rooting for at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning is for fun.
Yep.
So we're both on fun. Upsets and an over.
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. That wraps up the discussion of all the games.
It does.
We aren't going to have any additional episodes, but I am probably going to ask Alex to record himself stating his pick so we can set up a little reel.
Will do.
We can take care of that. So it's come out Saturday morning, most likely. I doubt we're able to get it Friday night, so we'll get that out Saturday morning for the people. So that'll be fun. So to finish out, Alex, we're gonna go through all of the picks for every game, rapid fire.
Okay.
So we're just gonna go
I can do that.
Louisville minus 2.5 versus Creighton.
Louisville minus
High
2.
point Purdue under 153.5. Like you're just gonna go rapid fire down your list.
Okay.
Can you handle this?
I can.
Here's the goal. I'm gonna create a YouTube short, a reel out of this.
So
It's got to be under a minute.
don't fuck it up. Got it.
It's got to be under a minute.
All right.
Can you do it?
I think so.
All right. Have at it.
All right. Louisville minus 2.5. Purdue minus 7.5. Montana plus 16.5. Southern Illinois versus Houston over 125.5. Alabama State versus Auburn. Auburn minus 31.5. Clemson minus 7.5. BYU minus 2.5. Gonzaga minus 6.5. Wolford versus Tennessee under 132.5. Kansas minus 4.5. Texas A&M minus 6.5. Missouri minus 6.5. Utah State plus 5.5. St. John's minus 18.5. Michigan minus 2.5. UNC Wilmington versus Texas Tech over 143.5. Baylor plus 1.5. Bama minus 22.5. Iowa State minus 14.5. Colorado State minus 1.5. Vandy plus 4.5. Maryland minus 10.5. Duke minus 31.5. Florida minus 28.5. The Ole Miss North Carolina game will go over 155.5. The Troy Kentucky game will go under 152.5. Marquette minus 3.5. Arizona minus 13.5. UConn minus 5.5. Michigan State minus 17.5. Liberty plus 7.5. Boom! How'd it do?
Michigan State to cover. You forgot one.
No, I said Michigan State minus 17.5.
Did you? Okay. I got lost in the shuffle there. I wasn't timing you.
I started getting animated.
I should have been timing you. I was not. I am going to time myself just out of my own curiosity.
Okay.
So, my first round,
You're wasting time.
men's tournament action, best bets on the track, on the course, on the journey to bet all of the games, which would be what, 32
Did your
plus
time
16.
start already?
No.
Oh, okay.
32 plus 16 plus 8 plus
48.
4 plus 2, 63 games.
I think so.
Yeah, I think I did the math right there. So this will start the journey to 63. Starts with Louisville to cover 2.5 versus Creighton. High Point Purdue under 153.5. Wisconsin to cover 16.5, taking on Montana. Southern Illinois Houston over 125.5. Alabama State Auburn over 150.5. McNeese versus Clemson. Clemson to cover 7.5. VCU plus 2.5 versus BYU. Georgia plus 6.5 versus Gonzaga. Wofford versus Tennessee covering 18.5. Arkansas plus 4.5 versus Kansas. Yale versus Texas A&M. Texas A&M to cover minus 6.5. Drake, Missouri over 132.5. Utah State plus the points 5.5 taking on UCLA. St. John's to cover 18.5 taking on Omaha. Michigan, UC San Diego over 142.5. UNC Wilmington versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech to cover 15.5. Baylor versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State minus 1.5. Bobby Moe versus Bama under 165.5. Lipscomb versus Iowa State minus 14.5. Colorado State versus Memphis. Moneyline dog. Vandy versus St. Mary's minus 4.5. Grand Canyon taking on Maryland under 149.5. Duke to cover 31.5 versus Mount St. Mary's. Norfolk State versus Florida over 153.5. Ole Miss versus North Carolina. UNC to cover 1.5. Troy plus 11.5 versus Kentucky. Marquette to cover 3.5 versus New Mexico. Akron versus Arizona over 166.5. UConn to cover 5.5 versus Oklahoma. Michigan State to cover 17.5 versus Bryant. Liberty, Oregon over 139.5. Boom!
You kind of
I
started
did
sounding
that.
like an auctioneer. Hey, we're gonna
I after all of that fanfare, Alex, guess what I didn't do?
time yourself.
I thought I hit start. I did not.
I thought you were gonna say like record or something. Like we have to redo this whole episode.
No, we're not going to do that. That would be less than ideal. But we have made it.
We have.
Round one of the NCAA tournament. We hope that you will consider joining Nate, Alex, and myself at the Wheeling Island Hotel, Racetrack, and Gaming Resort by the, I forget what their sportsbook sponsor is. Do you remember?
Uh, I don't know. It's not William Hill. I don't
I don't
think.
know. But we buy the sportsbook,
Bentley.
by the
It was
bar.
Bentley or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was something like that. Buy the sportsbook, by the bar. No merch to hand out. We figured out that was probably the thing that could get us thrown out.
Yeah, we're trying not to get kicked out. Apparently, that's the goal,
That's not the goal.
to not get kicked out.
Oh, that is the goal to not get kicked out.
I was like, wait a second.
Um,
Here we go.
we did we talk about what's Nate going to do afterwards? Is he going to go to Godfather's to hand
Yeah,
out
I think
merch?
so. Wasn't it the thing? He's going to Godfathers to hand out merch.
I think
If you need
so.
an excuse why you're at Godfathers, just there to see
It's
Nate.
because you're getting SSJM merch from Nate. Don't tell Sam. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He's umpiring baseball tomorrow evening, late into the wee hours, when hopefully, when all those bets hit, we are going to have a
Payday.